Best practices for conducting user research, including accessibility principles and the UK Government Digital Service (GDS) guidelines. Hello, and welcome to this in-depth guide on best practices for conducting user research. As an experienced and seasoned user researcher, I'm excited to share my knowledge and expertise with you. In this video, I will cover the best practices for conducting user research, including accessibility principles and the UK Government Digital Service (GDS) guidelines. User research is a critical component of product development. It involves gathering feedback and insights from users to better understand their needs, preferences, and behaviors. The insights gained from user research can help inform product decisions, improve user experience, and drive business success. To ensure that your user research is effective, efficient, and provides valuable insights, it's important to follow best practices. Let's dive in. Start with a clear research question. Before conducting user research, it's essential to have a clear research question. This will help focus your research efforts and ensure that you gather the right insights. Your research question should be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, SMART. Some tips for creating a research question include: identify the problem you want to solve or the question you want to answer. Clearly define the scope and objectives of your research. Consider the audience for your research and their needs. Involve stakeholders in the development of your research question. Choose the right research method. There are many different research methods you can use to gather feedback and insights from users. The method you choose will depend on your research question, budget, and resources. Some common research methods include surveys, online questionnaires that can be distributed to a large number of participants. Interviews, one-on-one discussions with participants to gather in-depth feedback and insights. Focus groups, group discussions with multiple participants to gather diverse perspectives. Observations, watching users interact with your product to gather behavioral data. When choosing a research method, it's important to consider accessibility principles to ensure that everyone can participate. The GDS has published accessibility guidelines for digital services that can help you make your research accessible. Some accessibility principles to consider include: providing alternative formats for participants who have visual or hearing impairments, offering support for participants who use assistive technologies, conducting research in a location that is accessible for participants with mobility impairments. Recruit the right participants. Recruiting the right participants is critical to the success of your user research. Your participants should represent your target audience and have the right characteristics to provide valuable feedback and insights. Some tips for recruiting the right participants include: clearly define your target audience and their characteristics. Use a recruitment agency or online platform to find participants. Offer incentives to encourage participation. Screen participants to ensure they meet your criteria. Prepare a discussion guide or questionnaire. To ensure that you gather the right feedback and insights, it's important to prepare a discussion guide or questionnaire. This will help guide your research and ensure that you cover all the relevant topics. Some tips for preparing a discussion guide or questionnaire include: clearly define the topics you want to cover. Include open-ended questions to encourage participants to share their thoughts and opinions. Use a mix of qualitative and quantitative questions. Pilot test your discussion guide or questionnaire to ensure it's effective. Conduct the research in a neutral environment. When conducting user research, it's important to create a neutral environment to avoid bias and ensure that participants feel comfortable sharing their feedback and insights. Some tips for creating a neutral environment include: choose a location that is quiet, private, and free from distractions. Use neutral language and avoid leading questions. Provide clear instructions and guidelines for the research. Ensure that all participants are treated equally. Use effective moderation techniques. Moderation is a critical component of user research. It involves facilitating discussions, asking questions, and managing the flow of the research. Some tips for effective moderation include: listen actively and empathetically to participants. Use follow-up questions to gather more in-depth insights. Encourage participants to elaborate on their responses. Manage time effectively to ensure all topics are covered. Analyze and synthesize the data. Once you've conducted your user research, it's important to analyze and synthesize the data to identify key insights and themes. Some tips for analyzing and synthesizing data include: use a combination of quantitative and qualitative analysis. Look for patterns and themes in the data. Use visualization tools to help you understand the data. Share your findings with stakeholders in a clear and concise way. Iterate and improve. User research is an ongoing process, and it's important to iterate and improve based on the insights you gather. Some tips for iterating and improving include: use the insights you gather to inform product decisions. Test and validate your assumptions with additional research. Continuously gather feedback from users to improve your product. Share your research findings with your team to promote a user-centered approach to product development. In conclusion, conducting effective user research requires careful planning, execution, and analysis. By following these best practices, you can ensure that your research provides valuable insights that can drive business success and improve user experience. Don't forget to consider accessibility principles and the GDS guidelines when conducting user research to ensure that everyone can participate and benefit from your research. Thank you for watching, and happy researching!